So I know it's been a long time since I posted anything, but I've been really busy around the household. And today I'm going to try and get some work done on my 96. So what's happening is I'm getting an engine code light. I don't know what it is. It just popped on a few days ago. And I suspect it's one of the sensors. So we're gonna run this down. So that's what's going to be going on today. See what happens. So what was happening is that I hooked up my scan tool and I got a P0300 code, and I went to my service manual to go down through their Q&A. It was a little bit of help. I was pretty sure what the problem was from a previous trouble code that I had gotten. And the culprit, 9 times out of 10 on these C4s, is going to be that thing right there. So I'm on the passenger side of the engine, and at the very front of the engine is this thing. There's the coil right there, the ignition coil's right here. And this right here is called the ignition control module. And if you've got a C4 and you haven't had a problem with that yet, causing misfires, you will, trust me. So I went ahead and I just finished replacing that. It's not real hard. Just undoing. Mine was held in place by 2 5.5mm screws, and then popped it out, popped a new one in. And also, while I was at it, I went ahead and changed this sensor as well. This is the MAP sensor, the manifold absolute pressure sensor. And just undid the connections, checked all of them, made sure that they were clean, and then reconnected. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and get back into the car, get the battery connected, and get it fired up and clear the codes, and then run through cycle and see what happens. Okay, I'm going to attempt, and I do mean attempt, to drive this car for a test drive with that camera in the passenger seat. So if it shakes around and bobbles or whatever and falls over and stuff, I apologize in advance. So what's funny about the manual in diagnosing and fixing this problem is, as I was reading through all of the steps, still have a little bit of a mess. So as I was going through the manual and diagnosing these steps to fix the problem, and I haven't fixed the problem, I don't think. This is just doing one thing. There's a lot of steps involved. It included taking a bottle of water and spraying onto the coil wires or the connectors to see if you get a spark. And if you did, go to the next step. And now this was out of the GM factory service manual, okay, that the mechanics use at dealerships to repair your car back in the 90s. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go through the steps with the tools and the parts that I have and see if it doesn't make this code go away. Now it says also that you got to go through so many operating cycles for the system to run its diagnostic and then clear the code. If it does it on its own, it will do it on its own. Of course, I could, go through the scan tool and do it myself. But what I'm wanting to do is I'm wanting to go through the different processes to see if I can't get the code to go off by itself. So like I said, I really believe that it was the ignition control module. So what happens is there's a number of different things going on with an LT1 engine in Corvettes. The crankcase or the crankshaft on the outside where the harmonic balancer is, there is a sensor there, and the computer, the control module, it knows how long it takes for that sensor to go around at whatever RPM. And if for whatever reason, say there's a misfire or whatever, or something else fails, the ignition control module or the coil or whatever, it causes the engine to misfire for whatever reason. If that time at the certain RPM that crankcase sensor or that crank sensor is out of cycle, is not staying within the parameters, it'll send a fault code, which was pretty neat for, back in the 90s. Today we take things like that for granted because most of these cars have, I don't know, 30, 40, 50 sensors on them. But this, these cars were right when these sensors were starting to come into being as far as, keeping the engine running at maximum efficiency. And so they were, it was really a, let's see how this works kind of a thing. This car has like 8 sensors on it. That's it. It monitors the computer control module monitors 8 sensors, and that was revolutionary in the 90s. So we've come a long way. The downside to it is that if you want to put an aftermarket motor into your older car, if you don't have a bypass control module or a standalone control module where you can bypass all of those sensors, good luck getting your car to run. Good luck getting the engine to start. So, because the engine's the first thing it's going to do is look for those sensors, or the control module is going to look for those sensors, and if it doesn't have those sensors, it's not going to let the car start or run or anything else. So, so far it's not missing like it was. It seems to be got a little bit of a stutter, but the car's been sitting for about a month. I haven't had time to get to it and fix it, so that could just be bad gas or the plugs, because I was away from the house when everything started missing and misfiring and stuff, and I had a little bit of a drive to get back home. I probably fouled the cylinders up pretty good, and and everything's getting cleaned out. So, oh goodness. Seeing how it's all working so far. So, I hope you guys can hear this. I mean, I don't even know, but if I get back to the garage, I'll show you what I'm talking about with the where it says take the. I couldn't believe I read that in the service manual. Take the bottle of water and spray it on the wires, and if you see a spark or smell something, replace the wires. I guess that's one way of doing it. Well, I'm up to operating temperature, and I'm just going to drive it for a little while and see what it does. So I'm not going to go through this whole video holding this camera though. So I'll be back. Stand by. Alright, so we've been driving for a little while. It's not reset yet, but it said it would take several cycles for it to do so, so I can't remember exactly how many, but it was a lot. Anyway, so far the car's running fine. I don't have that horrible misfire or stutter, you know, at idle or anything like that. The throttle's been responsive and quick, so I'm going to get it back to the garage and put it back on the scan tool again and run it this time with the engine running and see where we're at on codes, and also get a good read run test. So I'll be doing more videos, getting ready here pretty soon to pull the engine on the 74. And oh my goodness, lady, what are you doing? Woo. Where I moved to, there's a lot of elderly people here, and some of them shouldn't be driving. I'm just saying. But anyway, I'll get back to the garage, get it on the scan tool, do a run test, and see if it clears up. There'll be more videos to follow. Hopefully it won't take so long between video uploads to give some more content. This is the original Shep, and I'll catch you guys later. Bye. So now I'm getting a, I don't know if you can see that, what's called a 1351 code, which is the ignition control. So I just replaced the ignition control module, and the engine's running fine. I don't have any more misses or rough idles, and but I put it on the scan tool. It gave me that history, and I go back to my book, and it says it's got to run 40 cycles before it clears off. Like I said before, I'm not trying to manually clear it off with the scan tool, so that's where we're at. So anyway, the car's running fine. The module was bad, because that's really all I replaced was that module, and so everything's working fine now.
Go like